Hi, I'm Asto. To start off 2022, I got Live2D Cubism, spent some time learning it and made myself a 2D model. So here's the reveal. Alright, screw it. Yeah. Hi. Yeah, so this is my 2D model. I got shoes, I got trousers, I got a nice hoodie, nice and warm. I got eyes, I got like physics in my hair. You see that? Nice. I can do like a sad face, but I can smile at the same time. That's a weird face. I think it's about time for me to have some coffee. Nice. So in this video, I'm actually gonna show you a little bit of the process of me making this model, but also the problems that I ran into and also some mistakes that I made. So hopefully we can learn something together. So let's get into the video. The first thing I did was to draw the illustration of my model. I kinda cheated a little bit and traced over a 3D render of my model, but I did end up making some changes to the clothing and proportions of my body. I was using Procreate on iPad. Most people use Photoshop or Clip Studio. I guess they are more preferable. Just make sure you can export a PSD. I made sure to separate all the parts into layers so they could be recognized by Cubism as different parts. I did search for references on how artists usually separate their parts. For some extra parts like the frame of my glasses, I made sure to draw them at the angle with the least distortion. Then I can squash them back in Cubism. When I was done, I exported a PSD file and it's ready for import into Live2D Cubism. You can always go back and update your illustration, but if you are making new layers or new parts, make sure to put them on top of the old layers or else it will mess up your Cubism file. I did run into that problem. You can rearrange the parts in Cubism, so no worries. The next thing I did was to watch tutorials of Live2D Cubism. At this point I haven't got Cubism yet. If you are planning to use the trial version to make a model, I guess you can also try and watch some basic tutorial first before actually downloading the software, so you can have a general idea of how Cubism works and save some trial time. I suggest starting with the official tutorials. Of course, you can always search for more tutorials while working on your project. There are a lot of great tutorials made by actual VTubers sharing how they make their own models. Some of the well-known Live2D artists also share their work process and techniques on YouTube. So basically you have a lot of free and fantastic resources. There are a lot of non-English Live2D tutorials, but I suggest giving them a try once you are more familiar with the interface. I think this goes the same for all tutorials. You may not understand their languages, but most of the time you can still understand what they are doing on screen. Then it's Cubism time. I'm not going to explain deeply how Cubism works cause I'm just a beginner and I don't want to mislead anyone. So maybe go ahead and watch some Cubism tutorials, then come back to this video if you want to. I'll talk about problems I encountered, and I made so many mistakes, so don't follow my steps yet. The first thing I did was to turn the image layers into art meshes. I tried creating the meshes automatically, but even with the heavy deformation settings, some of the meshes just don't have enough polygons for deformation. For smaller parts like my eyes highlights, they even disappeared after auto-meshing them, so I have to draw the meshes myself. I'm not sure if the meshes disappearing has anything to do with my PSD file, cause when I put my parts onto the texture atlas, all the parts have their bounding box as large as the canvas, and I don't see people having the same issue. Maybe it has to do with Procreate, I don't know. I somehow managed to set up the texture atlas with all the issues and I happily ran straight into setting up the keyforms. But I have missed something very important. Draw order. So right here we have this little cat as an example. If we click on this angry mark right here, we can see that the draw order is 500 and the cat face is also 500. And by default, all parts have the draw order of 500. So, if I go ahead and decrease the draw order of this angry mark to 400 something, it goes under the cat face because the cat face has the draw order of 500. Let me click on the face, and on the left hand side right here, I've created 3 parameters, x, y, and z. Let me use the X for demonstration and set 2 keyforms on X, right? Now we have 2 keyforms. So on a second keyform, I'm just going to stretch out the face for a little bit, like this. And now if I scrub through the parameter, it moves like this, right? If I change the draw order and the opacity on the second keyform, you can see that this single keyform contains all the keys for deformation, draw order, and opacity. Basically, everything gets keyed.
Without the draw order properly set beforehand, if you go ahead and deform your mesh directly and set the keyforms, you might have a hard time fixing ordering issues. To avoid this problem, I guess I should have used deformers more, since you can set deformation keyframes on them and set the draw order and opacity keyforms on the mesh itself. The other reason to use deformers is because you can separate keyforms for different parameters by nesting deformers.
So let me go back to this little cat face. You can see that right here I have 3 keyforms for body X and 3 keyforms for body Y. And if I go to 10 of body X, it goes to the right, right? And if I go to -10, it goes to the left. So if I go to body Y and set it to 10, it goes up, and -10, it goes down. It's simple, right? So you can see that we have 3 keyforms for each of them, so which means 6 keyforms altogether, right? What if I set body X to 10, which means to the right, and body Y to 10 as well, which means upwards? That means the cat should go to the upper right, right? Because up and right, which means upper right. So let's check if that's true. Go to the right. It doesn't go to the upper right, but instead it goes back to the center, like there's no keyform set for this combination. You have to set every single combination of keyform when you have keyforms on multiple parameters. So in short, there are 3 by 3 keyforms on this cat face, which means 9 keyforms, but not 6. If we click on this button right here, you can see that it links up the body X and body Y, and we can see these corner keyforms, which means the combinations that we haven't really touched yet. And you know, to make these keyforms, it's simple. You can just go to, let's say, body X and come here and say synthesize corners and select body X and body Y. Then it does like the keyforms for you. But what if I set 3 more keyforms on body Z? Let's say I have 2 keyforms like this for the head to tilt. Now there are 3 by 3 by 3 keyforms that I have to set, which means 27 keyforms. And you know, if you start to add more keyforms on top of this on multiple parameters, Live2D is going to give you like a warning. So that's the reason why we should be using nested deformers. This cat face is now controlled by 2 deformers, body XY and body Z. And you can tell by the name that the body XY controls the body XY keyforms and the Z deformer controls body Z. And now we do not have to create all 27 combinations because the body XY is separated from the body Z. And on the cat face itself, we can actually set the keyforms for opacity and also draw order.
Let's go back to my own model. I started out working on the angle XYZ of my head. I do think that having good drawing skills, the ability to imagine things in 3D, or anatomy knowledge will definitely help in the process. It would be the best if you have the draft illustration of your character looking at different angles and import it into Cubism, so your character won't look like they are being viewed from the Animal Crossing Fish Islands filter. For symmetric parts like the eyes, you can just make one side of it and use the reflect function. It's pretty useful. After completing the head, I move on to the body and the process is very similar. I made sure to scrub along the parameters to check if the model looks natural in motion. You can also use the physics/scene blending settings window to preview your model as a whole using your mouse. This is like the first time for me to see my model sort of coming to life, and I gotta say, it is very exciting. This window is also where we set the physics, so I have set up a few parameters to be controlled by physics, such as hair swing, the swinging of the strings on my clothes, and also a little boing boing, except it's my whole body boing boinging. If your model doesn't boing, then it's probably a bad model. Just kidding. These pendulum things were so confusing, but I managed to add physics to my character, looking so much more natural now. What's left are the extra parts and expressions of my model. I have this version of my hand holding a cup of coffee, and I made a little expression on my eyes to show how much fun I'm having. With my model being complete, I do need to test it with the VTubing software. I chose to use VTube Studio and I tested the model with my webcam. I believe that the iPhone tracking works the best for VTube Studio, but you do need the Pro version to use it for more than 5 minutes. But I'll be using the free version for now.
So this is how it looks like. I'm not wearing my glasses. So if I tilt my head along the z-axis, I can do that little thing. And then I can actually, if I zoom out a little bit, zoom out a little bit, yeah, this is how my whole body moves. And there's a little bit of problem that I have to fix. So if I tilt my head along the z-axis, the breathing animation will eventually reveal some transparent parts around my waist. So yeah, I have to fix that. If I zoom in really close and then I tilt my head towards this side, there are some parts that are not supposed to be there. Let me show the physics a little bit. Yeah, alright. I have to hide my lips like this to actually close the mouth. So this is the testing without my glasses. So let me try and put on my glasses right now. So I've calibrated my model with my glasses on. So basically I'm raising my eyebrows right now. Somehow it detects that my eyebrows are being pushed down. So sometimes your glasses just keep sliding down your nose, so it kind of blocks your eyebrows or maybe your eye or something. So yeah, this is how it looks with my glasses.
So now all that's left is for me to go back to Cubism and fix the issues. After some fixing, this is the final version of my model.
So let me try and move around my face, and that issue is no longer there. Great. So also my waist, yeah, that hole is not there anymore. So yeah, I guess this is like the final version of my Live2D model. I can move around like this and turn around. I love that face. I can move to the front and to the back. Can change my expressions like this. Yeah, I have a lot of coffee. Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it for my model. Yeah, there are a lot of things that I haven't touched in this video, like optimization. There are a lot of techniques related to optimization that I didn't mention in this video. And I do think those are interesting topics that you can look into. Yeah, I hope this video has helped you for a little bit if you are trying to make your own Live2D model. I gotta say, this project is really fun, especially when I see my model moves for the first time. I guess that's not so bad for a first time Live2D project. I hope you had fun in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. You know what's the mistake that I'm making right now? putting my mouse cursor on top of my model.